Okay, so the first half of this unit is about making equations. So we basically had two options. If we're ever given the x-intercepts, we use this, right? And we always worked to plug in the intercepts and a point to get an A. Or we had this format, and I used it if I knew the vertex and a point. Okay, remember that. That's what we did. Okay, a water rocket was launched from the ground. Guess what I'm going to draw? A point right there, launched from the ground. Initial velocity of 32 meters a second. The rocket achieved a height of 44 after 2 seconds of flight, and it was in the air for 6 seconds, and then it hit the ground. Okay, so there's my understanding of the path of what's going on with the rocket. And this coordinate was when it started from the ground. That's what it said. And then it traveled in the air for 6 seconds, and then it hit the ground. So then this point is 6, 0. The rocket achieved a height of 44 2 seconds after it was flying. Where would you put that point 2 seconds later? Which side of the parabola do you think I'm on if I'm at 2 seconds? I'm probably here. Okay, and you know why I would know that? The vertex should be at 3, halfway in there. Okay, so this is 2, 44. Okay, which equation, because I don't have an equation now, which equation am I going to be making? Am I going to use the factored, or am I going to use the vertex equation? Which one? Given all that info, which one would you use? The factors or the vertex? The factors, okay? Okay, so that's what I'm picking. Now, you ready to understand what to plug into what? So the factors are the R and the S numbers. And a point is a X and a Y. Okay? You're always working to plug in and figure out A. So 44, so I have that labeled, that's the Y. A bracket, 2 minus 0. Two minus 6. You see where I'm getting all those values from? I'm plugging in and I labeled them all. Okay. Do you see that whatever numbers you are at, your factors are always the opposite? So these were both, right? Plus 6, so I'm a minus 6. Okay, brackets. 2 subtract 0, well that's just 2. Whoops, why did I put a 2 there? And the other bracket is 2 subtract 6, so negative 4. Okay, and then I'm timesing those two together now. So that's a negative 8, and I'm going to divide. Okay, so all that was just algebra stuff. So we have to make an equation. So when you make the equation, remember you're putting in the info but leaving the x and the y's open. So y equals negative 5.5 x stays open, subtract 0, x minus 6. Okay, and some of you might leave it like that, that's fine. I personally would have probably wrote it like this, but it doesn't matter, right? Because minus 0, you can leave it out. Okay, now at this point you can go to your calculator, right? That's the hard part, is making the equation. So let's see what we get. Okay, what do you think our x should go to? Negative 10 to 10 is probably fine for x, right? What do we want to pick as a height number? Because this was already at 44, but we would be higher than 44. You want to pick like 80? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Okay, so there was my window, negative 10 to 10, and on the y I went up to 80. Okay, the question says, what is the domain? So the time. What does the time start at? What does the time end at? Starts at 0, goes to 6 seconds. Can I be exactly there with square brackets or approximately there with round brackets? Exactly at that time. Range is the height. What is the lowest height this rocket will be? 0, the ground, to the highest height of, guess what? Now we got to do some work. I need the max, right? I need that point, and then that'll help me answer my question. So I got 3, 49.5. Okay, but on this I want my height. That's what I'm looking for, so 49.5 is the highest you're going to go. Okay, so that was making an equation with factored form. Okay, you're going to have to flip to a Duncan question, and it's on page 16. Okay, Duncan is a diver, and he dives off a 7.5 meter platform. Okay, are you visualizing what's happening? So you're starting there. What happens to you when you go off of a diving board? Hopefully. You go a little bit up, and then you will go down, and then you would hit the water, right? So that's the path of a dive. Can anybody tell me this coordinate right there? Time and height. So it's the time of 0, the start, and what is the height at the start? 7.5. Okay, he reaches a max height, so I'm going to put a dot here at the vertex, the max. He reaches a max height of that after 0.3 seconds. How do I write this coordinate? Which part goes where? You have to write it in the correct order. 0.3 goes first, and then the 7 part goes next. Okay, so make sure you understand the order of that. How long does it take him to reach the water? That would be what we're trying to figure out. Okay, so we do not have an equation. So that's why I have this sheet that says, should I do the equation that has the factors in it or the equation that has the vertex given? The vertex. So I'm going to give myself an h and a k, remember this, for the vertex. And I'm going to give myself an x and a y for another point that I have somewhere. Okay, you can use this one, or you can use the one also with the k on the other side. That doesn't matter. Okay, can you watch me plug in my vertex first? So just watch, and then I'll let you type this. I'm going to do this. Minus 0.3 there. That's the h, but I'd have to do it as an opposite because it's got a subtract sign on it. And a plus 7.94. So that's me replacing the h and the k. So can you do that? Okay, now put in the x and the y. And again, we will solve for the a. That's kind of the idea all the time. You're going to be missing the a piece on these. Okay, the rest is algebra, so can we make sure we're doing our steps properly? The first thing I'm going to have to do here is minus. I have to get that out of there. Okay, we can also do this at the same time. So I'm doing 0 subtract 0.3 brackets squared. So 0.09. I'm going to go to 3 decimal places here because I really don't like to round stuff, but since it's a big decimal, I'm going to go 3. Okay, we're ready to put it into our calculator. So what is the actual equation I'm going to put in? Y equals negative 4.889. Leave x. Okay, so in that information, you always have to leave x and y open for your calculator, right? All right, type that in. Let's see if it looks like we want it to. Don't push graph yet because we're going to talk about our window before we graph it, okay? Okay, window. If I haven't graphed it, I've just literally done that. Okay, what is the x, the time? looking up here, this is at a 0.3. So we can't go very big. Do you want to just go like -1 to 1? Something really small on our window? Because that's a 0.3 seconds. So we're not going to have anything crazy there. And the height, do you want to go from like -10 to 15? No, well, we have 8 up there. 8-ish, so 10 works too, but something like that. Okay, we start it like that. I'm going to go -2 to 2 now, because I need more x, I think. I'll try bigger. That actually works better. -2 to 2. Okay, and that's going to happen to you on your test. You're going to try something and you're going to say, ooh, can't see it all. Okay, answer the question. Figuring this out. So get me a 0. Second, calculate a 0.